today in the middle of all the craziness of Monday and running around to just encourage you in the Lord and to help you trust His voice and that you're hearing from Him. About a year ago, my son got filled with the Holy Spirit, and the story of how it all happened is just such a cool testimony of what God can do when we are obedient and when we trust His voice and when we trust what He is filling our minds with as well. And so I'll preface this and then I'll read to you what I wrote from that day. But normally, up until this point, I kind of talk to you guys about the beginning of my journey, kind of rolling back the clock to how I trained myself to hear from the Lord in this way. And I would really have to quiet myself and be very intentional. And this is coming on the heels of that first vision and that first encounter in heaven that I had with the Lord in the throne room. And I really had to take myself away to go to that quiet place to hear from the Lord. Because as I mentioned a few times, life as a stay-at-home mom, homeschooling mom is a lot of wonderful things, but quiet is not one of those things. And so in order to sort of get my mind uncluttered and to sort of shut down all of the chaos and all of the to-do lists and all of the scheduling and everything that we balance on a daily schedule is taking myself away from that, quieting myself. So oftentimes I'd get the kids situated with some school or, with a movie or something if we were having, if we were done with most of our stuff for the day. And I'd put in my headphones and I'd just spend some time in the Word and some time worshiping. And one morning, I got up real early and the kids were up watching cartoons, and I felt the Lord say, go do your quiet time out in the living room. And I was thinking, well, that's not going to go well. As soon as I go out there, they're going to ask for breakfast. They're going to be asking me a million questions about what we're going to do today. And, are we going to go to the park, or what are we going to do? And I was thinking, that's not going to be productive time. I have quiet time with my children, Bible time with my children, but this time was just my time with the Lord. And I felt very protective of it. And I had just sort of figured out how to put it into my life, how to create a margin for it. And so I didn't understand why the Lord was asking me to go do my quiet time in the noisiest place in our house. So I kind of was like, well, that was just silly. I'm just gonna, sit here. And I really felt Him nudge me again and said, go do it in the living room. So I was like, I kind of dragged myself out into the living room with my Bible and my journal. And I turned on the soaking worship. Actually, I think it was a prophetic soaking worship thing. It was a Nate Johnston video. If you haven't heard of Nate Johnston, look him up. He's amazing. But he was just praying and worshiping a little bit. And I'm sitting there and I am just only a few minutes in and I'm just getting bombarded. They did this, and Mom, come help me with this. Or I spilled. And I'm thinking, oh, why am I doing this, Lord? Almost like I told you this wasn't going to work. And then the most amazing thing happened. So I'm going to read this to you. I could just tell it from memory because I've retold it so many times, but I just read through this and I love the way my heart poured onto the page because I was so excited for my son. Oh, I'm going to cry. Okay. Baptized with fire. Today, the Lord prompted me to do my prophetic worship time in the family room. I usually close myself in my room so I can enter in and avoid noise and distractions. But as I tried to enter in, naturally, I was continually interrupted. So much so that about 20 minutes and 18 interruptions in, I thought about turning off the music and prophetic ministry video I was watching and just going outside to read my Bible. But just then, the Lord gave me a vision. It was barely a flash of an impression, but I saw a field of wheat. I walked through these waist-high reeds and I brushed my fingers over the tips. And then I saw ahead a waterfall. And I probed my mind now to see more details, but that was it. Just a field of wheat and a waterfall. It took less than a minute and it was gone. And I had just about given up on this time with the Lord. But the Lord gave me this vision. And about 30 seconds later, my oldest son, Kale, who was 11 at the time, came and sat next to me on the couch. And he began worshiping and praying quietly with me. as he was sort of snuggling into my side. And I thought, okay, Lord, okay. I didn't ask him to do it, but he did it anyway. Maybe this is what you wanted me to do, to model this for them. And I started to really enter in then, thinking that he'd probably wander off. And I was praying in tongues very quietly. And all of a sudden there was this echoing sound of tongues. And I kind of looked over and my son's eyes were closed and he was praying in tongues. And I didn't know why. He'd never prayed to receive the baptism of the Holy Spirit. And so something came over me. It was like fire poured down. It like ignited my head. I felt my ears felt so hot. I turned and I laid my hands on my son and I started praying and prophesying over him. I just called down like fire from heaven to just anoint him. I prayed that he would be like an arrow shooting straight through the attacks and the schemes of the enemy to the bullseye heart of Jesus. And I realized as I was praying over him that I was praying the baptism of the Holy Spirit over him. And he was already speaking in tongues, but again, I'd never prayed that over him. So I just said, Kale, do you want to be baptized in the Holy Spirit and speak in new tongues? And he said, yes. So I prayed that again over him. And the two of us sat there on the couch as this ministry video continued, and we just prayed in tongues together. He was so excited when we were done, like when the day moved on, like he was overjoyed. It was like this childlike, exuberance that you see only a few times, Christmas morning, Disney World type of excitement. Like he was so excited. He messaged his youth pastor. He called my parents. He called everyone that he could think of to tell them what had happened. And it wasn't until later that I remembered the vision that the Lord gave me that kept me in that place, that kept me right there, just marinating in his spirit, that kept me obedient to the call that he had given me to go do it on the couch. And I looked up what wheat means, and it means fruitfulness and provision and harvest. And then I looked up what a waterfall meant. And a waterfall literally means baptism of the Holy Spirit. And so I waited in this place. I saw the waterfall before I even knew what it meant. The Lord was tipping me off and telling me that there is going to be a baptism of the Holy Spirit, and there will be a great harvest from this obedience as you sit here and wait on me. And I just wanted to share that with you today because I don't want you to discount what the Lord is showing you. I feel like we do that. I feel like it's too easy to do. Any other day, I would have just moved on with my day. I would have gotten up. I would have called it quits. I would have tapped out. But I latched on to the vision. And if you can hold on to the vision that God gives you, and if you can be obedient, even in the small things, then you're going to see great fruitfulness and harvest in your life. I'm going to be doing another prophetic activation this week. And I've got a prophetic word that I cannot wait to share with you guys as I pray into that and make sure that I pray and release it at the right time. But I just want to thank you guys for tuning in. If this podcast is a blessing to you, or if you know somebody that would be encouraged by these videos, please share it. This is just me being obedient to the call of the Lord and trying to navigate the minefield of how to move forward in an avenue that I've never done anything in before, in like YouTube videos and things of that nature. So please share, like, and subscribe, click the bell, and you will get notifications whenever I post up new videos. But I love you guys. He loves you guys. Have the best day. We'll see you next time.